The CBC's Jason Warwick has been sitting through the first day of the inquest in Melfort. He joins us now live. Jason, who did we hear from today?
Well, Sam, following that jury selection you mentioned and the instructions from the coroner, we heard from a police investigator who detailed the 48 hours, or much of the 48 hours, leading up to September 4th, 2022, when those 11 people were killed and 17 were injured. That police investigator talked about how Miles Sanderson, the one who was responsible for these killings, and his brother Damien went to James Smith to sell cocaine and to visit with a number of other people. And it quickly descended into threats. There was violence. They went to a couple of homes and beat people and got into altercations at different parties. There was a vehicle stolen from Damien Sanderson's partner's place, and that's when police were first notified that something was amiss at James Smith. And she called and said he had her vehicle and that he was wanted for a number of other charges. And so they went to the community, and for several hours, the police searched for Damien Sanderson. Miles was not on their radar at that time. So they actually went, as we've previously heard, to a house where there had been a party. And in the basement, they questioned a number of people, and Damien Sanderson was actually there but gave a false name. And so the RCMP left at that point. We also learned today that Miles Sanderson was in that house, but when he saw the police arriving, he fled and hid in the bushes until they were gone. Then it went into the woman, the former partner of Damien Sanderson, and a text exchange that they had over those hours, over almost a 24-hour period, where he was delivering these increasingly ominous texts. At first, they were just profanity-laced, alternating between affection and anger, and then they became increasingly dark, where he talked about not being taken alive, and he and his brother were not going to go down without taking everyone with them, etc., etc., etc. She was begging him to calm down, and the texts became increasingly erratic. The lawyers and the coroner did mention, though, that at this point, no one had any idea that anything like this would happen in the days to come. But nevertheless, this is a telling text chain combined with the testimony and the other observations of the officer. We've now pieced together much of those 48 hours leading up to the killings.
Jason, a really heavy first day of the inquest. What can we expect in the coming days? Tomorrow is expected to be an even heavier day. The lead up to the killings has been explained, and tomorrow we're expected to hear many of the details of the killing of those 11 people and the wounding of those 17 others on that fateful day, September 4th, 2022. And so it's been very difficult already for many people here, according to those that we've talked to, and that's just the people who felt that they could come today. There are only a few dozen people from James Smith here, if you don't count the leadership and the mental health support workers. There's many people here from the RCMP or lawyers or media, but there's many people from James Smith who were impacted that are not here. And as people said when I visited the community a couple of times last week, they just didn't think that they wanted to come. There are mixed feelings about whether this inquest is a good idea, whether it's just reopening painful memories without any purpose, but some are hoping that there will be a purpose, that they will find answers to what happened and that lessons will be learned, whether that is, whether there should be a police force at James Smith of its own, whether there should be mental health supports, whether the parole system needs to be reformed. So many things, so many ideas, and so many emotions already today, Sam. Tough stuff. Thanks so much for this, Jason.